Hello students, hope all are doing well. Today we are moving into a new chapter. The name of the chapter is Organisms and Population. Okay, Organisms and Population is the name of the chapter which we are moving into. Clear? Now, to start with, what is ecology? Okay, so what is ecology? It is a branch of science that deals with interaction among organisms, interaction between organisms, interaction with the abiotic environment. So, what do you mean by this? It is a branch of science that is dealing with interaction among organisms, means among a particular species. So, like among humans, among dogs, among cats, okay. So, like that, between organisms, between dog and cat, between human and other animals. So, that is between organisms, as well as they are also dealing with the interaction with abiotic environment or the physical environment. So, what is the physical abiotic environment? Abiotic, non-living factors. So, what are the non-living factors? Like you have water, air, sunlight, temperature, humidity, rainfall. These are all what? These are the abiotic physical factors. So, the interaction among all these things, the living as well as the non-living, between organism, among organisms, as well as the abiotic environment, the interaction, what we have, we call it as ecology. Okay, it is a science which is dealing with the interaction between organisms and its environment. Now, when you are saying this ecology, it is of 4 levels. How many levels are there? 4 levels. Okay, so what are the 4 levels? The first level is organism, second level is population, third level is communities, and the fourth level is biome. So, what is these 4 levels? That is what we are going to discuss. Okay. So, what is these 4 biomes? I will just, what is these 4 levels? I will just tell in short. Okay. So, what is organism? That is the first level, means it is an individual. Organism is what? It is an individual. When these organisms are numbers are increasing, many number of individuals are combined together, okay, I call it as a population. What do we call them? I call it as a population. That is the next level. Thereafter, when you are saying what is community, community means you can find many different types of population. Like you have humans, you have dogs, you have cats population, you have birds population, like that you can find many are present. Okay, so it is a group of populations, we call it as what? We call it as community. And the next one is biome. So, what is biome? Biome is that interaction with the whole, all the communities together, we call it as bigger one. Okay, so that one we call it as what? We call it as biome. Okay, so in this biome, like for example tropical forest or desert, grasslands are biomes. So you can find many different communities are present in those biomes. Okay, so this is one step higher. Okay, the higher you go, the number increases. So organism, population, communities, and biomes. So to start with, we are going to discuss what is level of organization, organism. Okay, every individual of a species is called as an organism. So all individual species, what do we call them? We call it as organism. I am an organism, you are an organism, even an ant is an organism, isn't it? And that is the basic unit of ecology. The first basic unit of ecology is what? The organism. Okay, the individual, single, whether it is unicellular or multicellular, the one. Okay, that one we call it as what? The basic unit. So that is organism. Ecology in its level deals with adaptation for survival and reproduction in their habitat. So ecology in this level, what they are dealing with? Adaptation. So how the organisms are adapting to the environment so that they can live in this earth. Okay, so that is adaptation, so that they can survive, and along with survival they are also able to reproduce. And why is reproduction important? We know the next generation has to be carried on. The species should not become extinct. It has to be carried out from one generation to another, isn't it? So for that, what is also needed? Reproduction is needed. Okay, so ecology, the organism level, they are dealing with what? They are dealing with adaptation. How we people are adapting so that we can survive, we can reproduce, and we can carry out ourselves in the next generation also. Okay, without getting endangered or extinct, we are carried out in the next generation. So that is what organism is dealing with in this level of organization. The second is your population. So what is population? It consists of a group of individuals, like group of organisms. Like for example, I told you already, like human population consists of a group of humans in a particular area, isn't it? So in a particular area, what is the human population? Like for example, maybe 100 or 1000, that is the human population. What is the population of India? So like that, you have a group of individual in particular location, we call it as what? At a given place. So that one we call it as population. So it consists of individuals of same species, like humans, cats, dogs, it's same species, okay? Humans all one species, cats all one species, yes. Have intra-specific competition for basic need. What is intra-specific? Intra-specific, within the population you have intra-specific competition. Intra means what? Within. So in this point you have to learn two terms, okay? So what are the two terms? The first term is intra and another one is inter. You have to know the difference between these two, okay? So intra means what? Intra means within and inter means between, okay? So within means within the population, like human population, one human is having competition with another human, then I call it as what? Intra-specific. When do I call it as inter? When a cat is having competition with dog. This is one species and this is another species. Cat is having a different population, dog is another different population, then it is between. So then we use the term inter, okay? So here in the population when you are saying, you are having what? Intra-specific competition with the humans itself. We are competing. The one who is earning, the one who can afford the things, food and all, shelter, place, are surviving. The one who cannot, the poor people, those who are below the poverty line, they cannot survive. Why? Because they are competing, but they are not that much competitive enough to earn much in order for their survival, okay? So there in the population you can find what type of competition exists. It is intra-specific competition. For basic needs we are competing with one another, okay? Yes, so that is population. Next is your third level, that is community. So what is community? It consists of an assemblage of population. I told you, when a group of populations come together, then I call it as a community, okay, in a particular area, and they are interacting among themselves. We all interact among us, like we are depending on plant population, we are depending on what is that, we are also depending on them and they are also depending on us, like that you can find interaction is taking place, okay. A biotic community has distinct species composition and structure. So whatever biotic community if you take, like for example hills, or you take a desert, or you take a plain, the biotic community over there, they are having different composition. Composition means what? They will be different from one another. One which is there in the South India, the same type of plants, same type of species, same type of things will not be visible in North India. There will be some adaptation, some changes there in their composition, their shape, everything will be somewhat different, okay. So they are specific composition for different biotic community, okay. So that is regarding community. Next we are moving on to the higher level called as the last level, biome. So what is biome? It is a large unit, big, okay. So it has a major vegetation type. So one particular biome is having a different vegetation type, and the animals living there is also very different from one place to another. Like polar region, the same you cannot find in the tropical forest, the same you cannot find in the desert, it will be somewhat different, okay. So there you can find the vegetation is different, the animals, the fauna, flora is the plants, and fauna, animals associated with them is also completely different. And this biome is determined by what? It is determined by seasonal variation and annual variation in precipitation. So the temperature as well as the rainfall is playing a major role in determining the biome, okay. So one is the temperature, whether it is high, whether it is low, what is the average temperature, that is playing a major role. Along with that you can find the rainfall is also playing a major role, okay. Example has been given like Arctic, alpine tundra, coniferous forest, temperate forest, desert, grasslands are example for what? Biomes, okay. Now in the next one you can find biome distribution. So what is this biome distribution graph showing? Listen, from this what type of question comes? You have to note down the diagram very carefully, and you should know in each and every shapes what is the biome covered, like this is savanna, this is temperate deciduous forest, this is tropical rainforest, this is grassland, this is coniferous forest, this is tundra region, this is desert, this is a permanent polar region. So like that you should know which and all is covering what. Okay, so they will be giving blank A means is given, what is the A denoting. If it is asked, then you have to know that it is temperate deciduous forest. Okay, so like that you have to note down in your textbook, the diagram is given, the graph is given, so you have to learn the graph, you have to know which is denoting what. Okay, along with that they can ask some questions like for example, you see this is tropical rainforest, isn't it? So this on the x-axis, what it is, it annual temperature, average annual temperature, and on the y-axis is average annual precipitation. Okay, so average temperature, if they are asking what is the minimum temperature of tropical rainforest, then what you have to do, you have to just see the bottom one. Okay, the bottom one, you just see how much it will be, somewhat like 10 degree Celsius. What is the maximum range it can go up to? It can go up to like what is that, 35, something like that, it can move up to. Okay, so like that you should know the range. And what is the precipitation, if they are asking of the savanna or the tropical rainforest, what you have to do, you have to just see the minimum one will be the tip one. Okay, so 160, something like that. And what is the maximum precipitation it can go up to? It can go up to 300 centimeter. Okay, so like this some questions they will be asking, which you have to note in case of biome distribution. The graph, the name, you have to note which is denoting what. Okay, so which locations are denoting what, right? Yes, so this is regarding your ecology, the main part. Now just to sum up, you see this diagram, it will be very informative. The first one, you can find only one animal is present. So this is one animal present, isn't it? So this one animal which is present, this one we call it as an organism. Now when you are saying a group of organisms, so this is what it is, a group of organism. The group of organism, what do we call? We call it as population. When you can find different population, different animals, okay, inhabiting one particular area, then they are forming community. What they are forming? Community. Next is your biome. Before going into this, ecosystem. Abiotic factor also comes into place. Okay, animals with water, air, everything. Then we call it as what? Ecosystem. And when you are seeing, when these ecosystem is confined to one particular area and they are determined by temperature and rainfall becoming bigger in sizes. So all these communities club together, one particular species climatic zones, then we call it as biome. What do we call them? Biome. And what is biosphere? Biosphere is the highest of all, means all living organisms in the whole earth. We put it under one, that is biosphere. So biosphere comprises all the living organisms on the earth. Okay, so like this you can find one by one, it goes on increasing, the levels goes on increasing. So 4 main levels are there. What are they? One is organism, second one is population, third one is community, and the fourth one is biome. Clear? Now we are moving on to the first topic of the same, environment. What are the two basic parts of environment? So environment, the surrounding, when you are saying, it can be divided into two parts. So what are the two parts? One is the abiotic factor and another one is the biotic factor. Abiotic, which means no, they are non-living. And what is biotic? They are living factors. Okay, so under abiotic factor you can find temperature, light, soil and water are playing a major role as what? They are acting as abiotic factor. Okay, and now when you are seeing this temperature, how they are playing a major role. Okay, so abiotic factor is determining the community, the population, as well as the biome is dependent on all these abiotic factors as well. Okay, so how this temperature is influencing the community or the population. Okay, so number one, average temperature varies seasonally. Yes, you can find that the summer is different from winter, from rainy, the average it varies seasonally. Decreases from equator to the pole. Yes, so when you are near the equator it will be hotter, but when you are moving up it will be slowly decreasing. The same you can find from the plains, the temperature will be going down when you are going up to the hills and all, mountain tops and all if you are going. So the temperature will be gradually coming down. Okay, it will be decreasing. The temperature range, it can be below 0 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius in tropical forest, just for an information. And function and distribution of organism depends on temperature. Yeah, at particular temperature some animals will be more functional, more active, and particular temperature they will not be that active, okay, that productive. So plants also you can see they are also, some will be growing in winter season, some will be growing in rainy season, some will be growing in summer season, which means they are functional during that season because that temperature favors their growth, okay. And organisms, when you are saying, they can be of two types. So what are the two types? One is your eurythermal and another one is stenothermal. So what is eurythermal and stenothermal? Eurythermals are animals which can tolerate a wide range, broad range of temperature. Means if it is very cold also, to some extent they will adapt themselves and stay in that cold area, and if it is becoming too hot also they can adapt themselves and stay in that place, okay. So that one we call it as what? Eurythermal. What is stenothermal? Stenothermal means they cannot adapt much, okay. So they can just take care of narrow range of temperature, they can survive only in narrow range of temperature. If it is going 2 degree or 2 degree down up, it's okay, but if it is going more they cannot survive, okay. Like for example, eurythermal animals, when you are saying like dog, cat, goat, humans are all eurythermals. We can adapt sweaters, or we will be covering ourselves light clothes in summer, sweaters during winter, somehow we are we will be learning about the same, okay. So we are adapting, but stenothermals they cannot. Like for example, penguin, python, crocodile, they need they cannot survive in wide range of temperature variations, okay. And global warming nowadays, what is doing is that they are posing a very serious threat. So you know, global warming is causing, temperature is going on rising, and most of the animals are getting affected, they are becoming endangered, at last they are becoming extinct because the temperature, if it is going on increasing, they cannot adapt to the change in the temperature, high temperature, and slowly their population is coming down and the species is becoming extinct. So first is temperature we have covered. Now we are moving on to water. Water, as you know, for a community to function, for a biome to function, it is a very important factor, abiotic factor. Without water, life is not possible, okay. So influence life of organism, and it cannot sustain without water. Yes, we know without water we cannot survive. Productivity and distribution of plants also depends on water. Yeah, how much water we give, whether water is available or not. In that case only plants will be growing. If the water is not available, drought resistant plant and all will be there, maybe to some extent they are growing, but the productivity will be very less if there is less water, okay. So water is playing a major role for both plants as well as animals. And quality of water is very important for what? Aquatic organisms. So quality of water, whether it is saline, whether it is not much saline, the chemical composition, what and all is present in water, its pH is playing a major role in the survival of the aquatic organism. If it is increasing, then because of addition of fertilizers or something, discharge is going and being dumped into water bodies, it can affect the life of aquatic organisms, okay. And organism may be euryhaline and stenohaline, okay. So what do you mean by euryhaline? Euryhaline are, they can withstand a wide range of salinity. So much amount of salinities are also there, then also they can survive. So that one we call it as what? Euryhalines, okay. Like green crab, molluscs are all euryhaline. They can withstand very high range of salinity. Now stenohalines, when you are saying, they cannot withstand much amount of salinity. If it is much saline, they cannot survive. Like freshwater fishes, goldfish, gadogs, all these fishes, when you are seeing, they cannot survive when the salinity increases to some extent. Narrow range is fine, but wide range they cannot survive. So that is stenohaline. So eury, they can survive wide range of salinity. Steno, they cannot survive wide range of salinity, okay. Next factor what we are going to discuss is light. So light is a very important factor. As we all know, for photosynthesis, light is playing a major role, a major what is that? We call it as a major raw material for photosynthesis, okay. So there are two types of plants, heliophytes and sciophytes. Heliophytes, they can need much amount of sunlight, no problem. But sciophytes, when you are seeing, they need very less intensity of light. In that only they will be surviving. Like for example, we call them as shade lovers. They love to remain in shade, okay. So the indoor plants and all, when you are seeing, they are shade lovers, because much amount of light intensity they cannot withstand, okay. So that type of plants we call it as sciophytes. The other one which can withstand heliophytes. Yeah, animals are diurnal, seasonal light variation. Use diurnal means what? Daylight. Seasonal light intensity variation, yes, you can find in winter the intensity as well as the duration, the photo period is different. Some long days, short days, like that you can find. They are playing a major role in the life of animals. Okay, so these all are playing a major role for timing of forage. Forage means what? Searching for food. Okay, for migrating from one place to another. Okay, as well as for reproduction and all, this light is playing a major role. Clear? The light is being used by these animals for these purposes. And you can find the distribution of the algae in the what is that, water bodies are also dependent on light. Okay, so distribution of red, brown and green algae are at different depths because of the intensity of light, how much it is falling, distribution of red light, how much it is reaching. Based on that you can find the algae are also forming different layers on the water bodies. Okay, so that is the light. Now moving on to the last part of today's class, that is soil. Okay, soil, how it is playing a major role, a major abiotic factor. So nature and property of soil in a place depends on climate. Yes, so the property of soil, the nature of soil in one area depends upon climate, weather. Whether it is much drought area means obviously the soil will be of some type, and if it is much rainy and you can find much amount of microorganism, means climate, yeah. So the temperature, precipitation, if there is a change, the soil will have its own effect, isn't it? So it will be somewhat different. Weathering processes means what, how the soils, rock particles are broken down to convert it into soil. Some rocks particles, when you are saying, it depends upon the type of the rock which is helping, maybe they are undergoing fast weathering process, some will be undergoing very slow weathering process. As soil types also, soil types can be what, it can be like clayey, loamy or sandy, whether it is sedimentary with like they are deposited and formed that soil, and it is transported from some other place through water or air, it is getting transported and they are getting clogged out. Okay, so all these play a major role in the development of soil. So how the soil will be, it will be depending upon all these factors, how the weathering is taking place, what is the soil type, whether it is sedimentary or it is transported from some other place and being kept for a time being. So these all depends. Okay, so nature and property of soil in a place depends on climate, weathering process, soil type and development of soil. Second is that soil composition, grain size, aggregation determine percolation and water holding capacity. Soil composition, as if it is sandy soil, so what will happen, the water can easily percolate. Yes, because they will not be tightly attached with one another. Sandy, grain size is bigger, isn't it? At the same time, when you are seeing clayey, what is happening, the water will not percolate very easily, because clay particles, they are very small in size, they remain attached to one another, so they will hold the water holding capacity will be more, so the water cannot easily percolate, cannot easily penetrate inside. Okay, so they will be holding the water and the aggregate, they will be forming clumps. Okay, clay soil if you pour water into it, but when you are seeing sandy soil, water can easily percolate, water holding capacity is very very less in sandy, because it will get evaporated very fast. But when you are seeing clay soil, since they are holding, clumping together and keeping the water tight, and the spaces are very less between the soil particles, the holding capacity will be more. Okay, so that is determined by the soil composition, grain and aggregation of soil determine what percolation and water holding capacity. Next is your physical and chemical property determine the type of plants. Yeah, what type of soil it is, red soil, loamy soil, alluvial soil, black soil, these all soil determines what type of plants can be cultivated there, what type of plants can be growing there. All plants cannot grow in all places, isn't it? So as well as based on that, the animals also you can find which type of insects and all will be present, worms and all will be present. It was all depending upon the type of soil. Okay, and bottom sediments in aquatic condition determine the type of benthic animals. So in aquatic conditions you can find the deposits are there at the bottom, sea beds and all when you are seeing. So there you can find based on the type of sediment, the soil sediments, as well as the debris, what and all is being collected there. Based on that only you can find the different types of benthic animal will be surviving. So what is example for benthic animal, like coral reefs, okay, thereafter you can find what seaweeds, okay, urchins, all these are examples for what benthic animals which survive at the seabeds, at the bottom layers of the water bodies. Okay. So these are the different abiotic factors, and they are playing a major role in determining the type of vegetation, type of fauna which can be present in one particular areas. Okay. So that's all for today. Hope it's clear. Thank you.